Season X is like no other Fortnite Battle Royale season that we have ever seen before. Back in Season 4, we saw various weekly map changes that added in some things like construction updates here and there, and we saw the Hop Rock trucks move from place to place. But that really wasn't anything too crazy. In Season 5, we saw Kevin the Cube roll around. Once again, not anything too crazy. Same deal with the floating cube island in Season 6. Then in Season 7, the snow came and went, nothing wild there either. In Season 8, the helicopter was moving around and the volcano was growing more and more active, but that took a while to progress. And in Season 9, the monster was around, but it was MIA for the greater part of the season once it escaped from the iceberg. But literally every single week so far here in Season X has consisted of something major happening on the Fortnite islands in the way of map updates. We've seen new secrets and Easter eggs added to the island, we've seen old locations reappear on the island, and all season long, we're going to see even more locations added in from week to week, alongside plenty of other surprises as well. So today we're taking a look at all of the Fortnite Season X map changes so far. Now, to start things off, we of course have to jump back to week 1 all the way to day 1 of this season, as we jumped into action on a map that was pretty different from what we were expecting. At the end of Season 9, we saw the Nexus Orb was nearing its breaking point, and come Season X, the Nexus Orb exploded and combusted, sending out all sorts of weird energy onto the island that essentially broke time in and of itself. So upon loading up Season X, the island was, well, interesting. First and foremost, the most noticeable change was the fact that there was literally a giant meteor, the same exact meteor that smashed into Dusty Depot back at the start of Season 4, frozen and suspended in the air right above the factories, which, by the way, those and Dusty Depot both reappeared on the island as well. Now, the meteor itself is home to its fair share of mysteries too. Not only is the meteor, frozen in time, because that's normal, right? But the meteor also has some loot spawns on it, including a handful of chests, and the pod that the visitor broke free from in Season 4 can also be found within the meteor too. Now, as to whether or not the meteor is going to stay suspended in the air for the entire season, only time will tell, but for now it's like a scene out of Chicken Little, but you pause the movie just before the sky began to fall because you had to take a bathroom break. That was a great analogy, right? Cool. Moving on, let's head on over to Loot Lake, where the Nexus Orb was still there, except it was broken apart and it was unleashing a very strange no-gravity effect on the nearby area. Loot Lake literally always seems to have something weird going on at it, and this season that remains true as you have decreased gravity in and around the Nexus Orb, and the orb itself actually functions as a rift, so if you need to escape danger, you can always jump into the orb to make a great escape. We of course also have the massive monster remains placed right outside of Salty Springs, so we can all remember just how close the island came to being destroyed for like the 17th time. What's changed this season though with the monster's skull and carcass is the fact that the area around it has actually changed color. The grass and some trees have turned to a bright pink color and have a more blossomy scheme going on with them, which looks just like what Bunker Jonesy painted on the Season 9 Fortnite image. So, foreshadowing? Yeah, I think so. We also have a little homage to Risky Reels on the island that appeared back in week 1, as up by Sunny Steps there is actually a little movie theater set up with a miniature projector screen and also the drive-in theater sign that used to guide you into the Risky Reels area. And speaking of older areas, we also saw that over in Paradise Palms and the desert area, that some signs of Moisty Mire returning were showing up too, as the entrance sign to Paradise Palms featured a green color tone to it that reminds us all of a really bad cold or the mire itself, as it was very green and murky and damp and other defining words like that. There is also a little house in between Westworld and Paradise Palms that has some Moisty Mire trees growing out of it. And I'm just gonna say it now, I am dubbing that house the tree house because, it's a house and there's trees growing out of the house. Okay. And then while we are still in the desert area, there's also a house in Westworld now that is full of TVs to go alongside the house that's also full of chairs. Then finally for week 1 of Season X, we also saw that there were plenty of toilets and toilet accessories located in some of these stone buildings within the iceberg biome over by Polar Peak. Now moving on into week 2, the biggest change we saw occurred in Tilted as the location was changed from Neo Tilted to the alliteration lover's dream of Tilted Town. When we said we wanted old Tilted back, I don't know if we exactly meant the Tilted so old that our great-grandparents used to visit it, but nonetheless, Tilted has changed from a futuristic utopia to a Wild West town where, get this, you cannot build at all. Finally, a place where I actually stand a chance. Also, you get a cool cowboy outfit when you enter the Tilted Town Rift Zone, so at least if you go down, you're gonna look really good doing it. But Tilted Town was not the only change this week, as we also saw that down in Lucky Landing, one of the towers just south of the little town itself was slightly changed to potentially foreshadow what could be coming to the area nearby, that once again being Moisty Mire. If you guys remember way back in the day, back in my day, we had Moisty Mire, which was a mire that was moisty. And this mire featured some shacks just like this one that now sits atop one of the Lucky Landing buildings. And as we saw back in the week 1 changes, other Moisty Mire teasers are on the map right now too, so it definitely looks like the mean green Moisty Mire machine is coming back at some point later on this season. Then lastly, for week 2, we saw that in one of the warehouses in Dusty Depot, someone was trying to solve a mystery, as there's a little lab-like area being created that we'll revisit more in week 3. But basically, a little chunk of the meteor appears to be under examination there. So as we get into week 3, let's get right into what this little makeshift lab turned into, and that is a slightly more cluttered makeshift lab that just so happens to house a new rift beacon in it. So maybe something is going to happen here in Dusty Depot later on in the season that somehow messes with the meteor in the sky, and perhaps we are going to have to relive the factories and the depot getting crushed once again, or maybe the meteor will strike somewhere else. I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. Aside from the Dusty Depot changes though, the biggest change with week 3 was of course the reintroduction of Retail Row, as the latest Rift Zone replaced Mega Mall with our beloved little row of retail. But it also brought back the monsters, which no one seems super excited about, but we can't complain about them too much because they're still not as bad as the mechs. I mean, I'm just being honest. However, there is something a bit more exciting than the mechs and the zombie things, and that is the fact that Kevin the Cube is back. Well, kind of. He never left our hearts, and now he's back on the island in the form of various memorials that have been added in all around the map. We've got one memorial located on the very top of the mountain in the desert biome, where Kevin the Cube first spawned in via the purple lightning that came from the giant rift in the sky. And then we've got another memorial just over by Loot Lake as well, where of course Kevin the Cube sacrificed himself for the sake of our entertainment. What a strange people we are. Anyways, speaking of memorials, you guys probably remember the Fortnite World Cup, right? There was some money on the line for those that are way better at the game than me. And now the duos winners of Nyrox and Aqua have a trophy statue placed in Happy Hamlet, and also the solo champion Booga has a trophy statue in Lucky Landing. So now we can all remember who the best of the best actually is, and I can keep on sitting here thinking of everything I wish to be. As of right now though, those are all of the map changes that we've seen occur in the first 3 weeks of Fortnite Battle Royale Season X. And of course, all season long, as each new week comes and goes, we are going to see even more new locations added in, and even more strange things occur on the island itself. If you thought things were weird so far, I have a feeling they're just going to get weirder and weirder as we progress later on into the season. With all of that being said though, that is effectively going to wrap things up for today. Definitely drop us a comment down below, letting us know which old location you guys want to see return to the island here in Season X. Personally, I would love to see part of Wailing Woods return at some point, which I know some of you guys are going, Wailing Woods? That's really what you want to see back? But honestly, I feel like if Wailing Woods were to come back, maybe, just maybe, we could finally get some answers regarding that bunker that is somehow still on the map right now. I just want to know what's inside of it and why it's there. That's all, I promise. Of course, if you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like on it, give it a big old thumbs up, as it would be much appreciated. And if you are brand new here to the Simply Fortnite channel, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when a new video goes live. As always, by joining the notification squad, every single time we post a new video here on the channel, YouTube will actually send you a message letting you know we've gone live. That way you can be the first person to watch, like, and comment on each and every new video. Once again, thanks so much for tuning in, and until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and we'll see you guys on the battle bus. Peace out.